Kisi, who is director of the Ghana Hydrological Authority, is joining us on the line to help us appreciate really what the work entails. $5 billion to deal with floods. Hello, good evening, sir. Doc, welcome to Eyewitness News. Your authority needs $5 billion to take care of Ghana's flooding problems. Is that correct, sir?
Good evening, Salam. Thank you very much for having me. Indeed, that's correct. Looking at the challenges that we have across the country, across cities and towns and regions of our country, we need $5 billion to comprehensively tackle the flooding challenges that we are facing.
And you said last year you were only giving 92 million Ghana cedis. That surely is small compared to the total figure you need. But what would this $5 billion do in specific terms? You build storm drains. What will you do?
Yes, thank you very much. Indeed, the location, and we need to be very clear that dealing with these challenges, relying on budgetary allocation will not solve the problem. The challenge, if we look at the $5 billion, it seems such a huge amount of money, and it is indeed a huge amount of money. But let me try and put it in context. If we look at the garbage project that we are currently undertaking in the Greater Accra region and looking at Accra specifically, we are looking at one drainage catchment, or others will call it drainage basin, which is the Odo drainage basin, from end to end. We're spending about $285 million, to comprehensively tackle flooding, looking at all the various causes of flooding, looking at the solid waste management, looking at early warning system, looking at dredging, looking at constructing new drains. So this is the kind of solution that we are talking about. We are talking about Garrett being used as a model to comprehensively deal with the flooding challenges. So that you don't go and just construct a small section of a drain. What you do is that you're actually transferring the problem from one point to another. To deal with this issue, you have to take an end-to-end measure. So if you look at catchment like Odo, $285 million, in Greater Accra alone, we have about 9 catchments. So you multiply that by 9, and that is how much you're going to have to invest roughly, in Greater Accra alone. So think about Ashanti region, think about Western region, think about Central, Eastern. So that, I'm sure the picture I'm painting with respect to the garbage project should give you a very good idea of how much we need to comprehensively, and the key word here is comprehensively, deal with the flooding challenges that we have in the country.
I see. I believe that it will be difficult to have this $5 billion at a go. So is it a case that you've broken down the work to be done into sections? So, for example, if you are given $100 million for a year, you can deal with a certain part of the problem the $5 billion is supposed to be solving. Do you have that?
Yes. So we have looked across the country. That's where the numbers came from. We know what we need to do in each region of the country. And so, and then we have also, we have a ranking in terms of priority order, based on the number of people at risk, the assets and properties at risk, livelihoods at risk. And we have a general idea that if we should be given $100 million, these are the ones that would want to tackle. So based on how much we are able to raise. And again, you made a point that, yes, you made a point that it's difficult for us to get about $5 billion. I mean, we are very, we are very conscious of this, that it's not going to be a situation where somebody will bring you $5 billion to deal with the challenges. So we know that it's going to be phased out over a period of time. But we're also conscious that government alone cannot tackle this challenge. No government, can deal with this challenge relying on budgetary allocation. And that is why the National Hydrological Fund, which was launched at Bench, on 4th of July, is important. That we look across, or we look beyond government, we look even beyond the country look at how we can bring private sector into the picture, individuals, our citizens. At the end of the day, it's for us. We have to protect our own lives. We have to protect our own livelihoods. Our own properties are at risk. So we are looking at a situation where we look widely to bring in funds into the National Hydrological Fund to undertake these kind of projects that would bring, solutions, or that would bring, relief to our people.
I see. So what's the feedback you're getting from government and maybe assurances from other donor agencies to help you raise this money?
We are at the initial stages. We're talking to various development partners. We very soon come up with our short code, that we can put out there for individuals to contribute. The funds, the account has been set up for us, by the Bank of Ghana. And so we are in the preparatory stages. We are looking for media partners like yourselves, who can work with us to get the message out there. And this is a call for action for every one of us, because when it floods, it affects everybody. I would say most people in city centers or in our capital cities do have, one experience or the other of the negative impact of flooding. So everybody, all hands must be on deck in trying to help, in trying to solve or resolve this challenge that we have.
I see. But when did you arrive at the $5 billion figure?
Sorry, come again?
I'm just asking when you came up with the $5 billion figure you say you need. I mean, because I know these things change over time. So when did you come up with, when did you finish the work to come up with this figure? Okay,
so we did this exercise a couple of years ago. As you rightly said, it changed over time. However, because the dollar value does not necessarily change much in terms of inflation on the dollar, that's why we are still calling out these numbers. And again, they are estimates. They are estimates. So we are not really fast about trying to work out inflation and say, it's been a couple of years, so let's work out inflation and add on it and all of that. We are conscious that circumstances are changing with development. We probably are having new areas that didn't used to flood, now experiencing flooding. So the numbers, they have to be looked at again. But for us estimates, they are good enough for us to work with and use for our planning purposes.
Very well. Thank you so much, Dr. John Kisi, for speaking to us. He's the director of the Ghana Hydrological Authority. He says his outfit needs some $5 billion to comprehensively deal with the flooding situation